I think a squirrel just yeeted himself out of a tree. Just heard something hit the ground. You okay, buddy? I couldn't figure out what kind of video I wanted to do. A lot of the projects I've got going on right now are going to take more than one day to do. I don't really want to do that right now. But I did think of something that I could do, and that was to make a super simple but extremely effective drain for a section like this where you're coming down a hill and then you've got something a little further down the trail that you don't want water and dirt to pile up on. So the only thing you're going to need for this is 2 pieces of scrap wood and then, I don't know, 3 or 4 rocks and then a mattock. That's really all you're going to need. I came up with this for free. I saw someone do it on Instagram. They did it with all this pressure treated wood and they were making wood spacers between it and it was just overkill. I was like, I bet I can do that for free. So let's do that. I'm going to use my mattock for spacing for this because I have a really big one. So I'm going to want each of the outside of the boards to be just inside the edge of my mattock. So when I dig the ditch, I only have to make 1 pass. If you have a smaller one, just make it however big you want. I just find this not only the easiest way to do it, but it's also what I know works because I did one further up this trail and you don't even notice it at that width. So let's start digging. So my hill's coming down right here. So I'm gonna want these angled this way coming across. I don't want them straight across because water's just going to go in there and pile up. So I want them coming down this way right here. So while you're digging here, something to keep in mind is you're going to want this end, or whatever end is going away from your trail, to be lower than one side. So the water will go one way. Now because I'm cheap, I didn't even find boards that were the same height. This is just gonna be more difficult than it needs to be, but we're gonna make it work. I'm just gonna check my height here, which is pretty, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good. I'm gonna put it this way. Oh no. Let's see. It's gonna take a little bit of finagling, just because, you know, you're freehanding with a mattock. It's not like you're some perfectly built machine for digging. We're not human moles over here. Just figure out what you're doing. I think that's pretty decent. Let's see. Let's just do this. Adapt and conquer, am I right? Isn't that what Napoleon said? Napoleon Dynamite? I don't know. Let's see how that fits. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Maybe I am a human mole. So we've got one side, and we've got this gap right here that we're gonna fill in with dirt, and then that's gonna keep all the water going in flush. We're gonna have to bring up this side just a little bit, but that's because the trail dips down in the center. So now we're going to do the same on the other side, and then we're going to space them and keep them in place. There we go. Now let's crap out of here. There might be one more. Dang it, people. There we go. Pretty good to me. Alright, now we're going to get those rocks that I mentioned earlier. And we're going to wedge the rocks in between these two and keep them spaced. Like I said, on this side, I'm going to have to raise this up just a hair because this is dipped down in the center. On this side, looks pretty dang good. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the end right here too. I guess I'll have to go get a shovel, but if there wasn't a dip, I could have done this without a shovel. Oh well. Okay, now we're just gonna clean up where the water is gonna go. There's a couple different ways you could do this. I'm gonna just make it run off into the woods, but if you don't want it to do that, you can make a big hole and it'll just soak into the ground eventually. If it's not red clay or something. If it's red clay, it's just gonna stick in there forever. This doesn't have to be pretty now. Trying to win any awards for looks. I just want it to work and work well. I think it's going to. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Oh, there's a big root there, so that could be an issue. So I want you to keep in mind here, I'm going to dump about, I don't know how much this is, maybe more than that, 3 gallons, I'm going to say, of water directly into this. You're definitely not going to get this much water all at this at once. If you are, you should probably move to a safer area. Let's see what happens. Dump some up here too. That's pretty good right there. You can't beat free. Holds up good too. Even though I barely packed that down at all. I also want to point out, from right here, you can't really even see it, which is pretty cool. And if you get all the way up here, then you can. And I guarantee you won't notice this while you're riding. There's all our water. Well, I know my trails are a little overgrown, but I wanted to show you my prototype one that I did just between these two berms here. Now, I didn't have a place for the water to go, so I made this big hole, and it works great. I've never had water flow out of it. I've had it fill up. You can see just how much water has been in here before, but works great. It's never overflown. I've never even had to touch this, and it's been here, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months. Even right here, dirt's piling up, and it's doing fine. Alright, well, that's all I've got for you today. Hopefully you learned something. I know I was super happy when I figured this out, especially the fact that I can do it for free. And the reason I'm stressing that you can do it for free is because one of the reasons I started making videos is because I want to show that trail building doesn't need to be expensive. You don't need all these huge special tools. You don't need a lumber yard next to your house. You just need shovels, mattocks, and a couple scrap pieces of stuff. And that's all you need to have fun. And you know, being a college student, you don't have a lot of money to just throw around at stuff. You don't have a lot of time to go make money. So this is kind of the premise of what the channel is going to be. Yes, I'm going to make some stuff out of wood, but I will most likely do it for free. I'll probably be making my own boards and just using screws and stuff that I have laying around. Yeah, that's all it's gonna be for this video. So, like I said, hopefully you learned something. If you've got anything to add, I'd love to hear about it. My shovel's too far away. I guess we're gonna do how about bucket flip today? Close enough.